Chapter 26 Reunion. Every reunion is temporary. 29th of December 2033, 7:01 AM. Dreamscape. Folded void with mana signature A000. Physical location? Nowhere. Jenny stood at the edge of the triangular platform with her eyes half closed, turning her library badge over and over in her fingers. Dean crouched beside her, wearing safety goggles and a lab coat 2 sizes too large for him, and Daryl sat cross-legged between them, still in his basketball kit, with one shoelace undone. The green light came from all 3 of them. Jenny shook her head, her short brown hair dancing in the void. "Where am I? Is this a dream?" Her voice carried clearly. I knew this world was too small to hold an atmosphere. We could all breathe and talk normally. "We were burning magnesium ribbons in the lab," Dean said. He looked at his hands, then at the fake black hole dominating the sky above us all. And then he gestured at everything. "This. Yep, I'm in a weird dream." Daryl looked up at me. He looked above me, like he was still looking up at his friend Amelia, who might just be Texas's tallest 9-year-old girl. And then he said nothing at all. Jenny did not come to me first. She went to the boys, one hand on Dean's shoulder and the other under Daryl's chin, checking them over. She wasn't just showing her librarian side, this was the mother side. Only after both boys answered her did she look at me properly. "Elishia?" I crossed the platform in seconds and pulled all 3 of them into my arms at once. Jenny made a small, involuntary sound. Dean went rigid for a moment, the way he always did before he allowed himself to hug back. Daryl buried his face in my stomach. "This is real," I said into the mess of their hair. "You're not dreaming. I promise you're not dreaming, and I'll prove it." My mind had been working in overdrive since the system first hinted that I'd be able to contact Earth. I needed to find a way to prove that the meeting really happened, and I had a solution. "Jenny, you haven't told the boys about what we decided last time we spoke, have you? About winter?" Jenny was the most shocked of the 3 to see me, but she answered with a no that told me much more. She's far too sensible to believe this meeting was real, so I turned to our sons. They'd have to convince her. "Get excited, you 2. You and Mama J are off on a holiday to Australia. She'll confirm it once you directly ask. We'd both been keeping it secret, but you've both been so good while I've been away. Australia's seasons are the opposite of ours, so you'll be able to go to the beach while it's icy at home. Promise me you'll both ask her about it once you wake up. That will prove to her that this isn't a dream." If there's one thing motherhood has taught me, it's that getting kids to promise to do something is very easy when it is something they're excited about. Those are the promises kids always keep. Jenny frowned in disbelief. "But now, we need to talk. I found something on Phobos that has changed me and will change the world. It's hard to explain and even harder to believe." I didn't say anything more. I simply revealed my wings. "Are you dead, Mama E? Are you an angel now?" Daryl asked. I hadn't even considered he might draw that conclusion. "No, I'm very much alive. The wings are real. The last days have been quite something. I've learned that magic was always real on Earth, but something happened and all that power was sealed up and jettisoned into space. It became a new moon. It became Phobos." "And then you landed and set it loose again?" Dean asked. Kids don't understand that some things are impossible, and that makes them the best at drawing impossible conclusions. "Something like that, and it made a lot of things happen. I'm bedridden, and Houston will soon think me dead. But I'll recover soon, and while I can't return on the aspirant yet, I'll find a way back to Earth. You need to know, though, Natalia went mad. I think she killed Megan. And I've been fighting constantly against monsters, like one of your VR game characters." "Whoa, that's cool," Daryl answered. "Another lesson of motherhood. The younger children are, the more they hear only the most recent thing you said. Not about Megan and Natalia, though. That's sad," he followed up, just as I turned to glare. "But what really scares me is that what's happening on Phobos might come to Earth as well," I told the 3 of them. I really wanted to convince Jenny, but it was hard because she's the sensible one. I'm the academic, explorer, and dreamer. Daryl is the gamer with a heart of gold, Dean the theatre kid, and Jenny is the one that keeps us all out of the clouds. I need to ask all 3 of you to do something crazy. You need to learn Latin, and when you can speak it well enough, You need to make 3 wishes in that language. Think hard and write them down first. Okay, this is ridiculous, came my wife's voice, in the stern schoolteacher voice she only used when truly exasperated. Why am I not waking up from this dream? I know it's not real. That should be enough to wake up. Daryl, Dean, your job is to convince Mama J that this meeting was real. Remember to ask her about Australia, Melbourne, Wilson's Promontory, and the 12 Apostles, and the live performance of Love Apocalypse at the Regent Theatre. Those are details you couldn't have known if this meeting wasn't real. But don't tell anyone else. I'll ask her tonight, both boys replied. Remember, 3 wishes in Latin. Ones you really desire can come true, and you gain the power to repeat them later. But you only get 3, so think long and hard on them. Whatever you do, don't joke about it, and make sure that you do it soon. Monsters might be coming to Earth. I've fought demons, angels, ghosts, dinosaurs, dragons, and things right out of Lovecraft already, and I don't think I've scratched the surface. Questions about what a Lovecraft was tumbled out of the boys, but were interrupted as Jenny ran in for a hug. This dream might make no sense, but it doesn't need to make sense to be a good one, she murmured. I lifted her one-handed and forgot how strong I had become. Instead of lifting her slightly off the ground, I threw her a full meter into the air. Jenny landed hard, breath leaving her in a startled grunt. The boys shouted at once. I dropped beside her, hands hovering uselessly because I did not have the mana for even my weakest healing prayer. I'm sorry, hun. I'm sorry. She stared at me, one hand pressed to her hip, more shocked than hurt. A bruise would form there. I hated that thought, and I hated the smaller, colder thought that followed. That bruise would be proof. I pushed that thought away and held her carefully, as though she were made of glass. I held the 3 in a more careful embrace until our allotted time expired. Nothing could undo what had happened to Megan, and the dangers of this mad world were real, but there was still joy to be found in the world. I'd hold on to that. I checked my character sheet, and the resolve-suppressing melody was gone. Hours turned into days as I lay exhausted in Serena's care. I passed the time working on unsolved mathematics problems. With no mana to fuel the miracle of calculation, the Riemann hypothesis remained as out of reach as it was for still greater mathematicians than myself. Luna had finally been allowed to visit on the 3rd day, and we talked for hours. Your mana debt, she said, settling onto the edge of my cot with the careful movements of someone who has not fully healed herself. How bad? Catastrophic, I admitted. Weeks of battle helix time before I'm able to use mana at all. Months before I'm drawing on full reserves again. Millions in our numbers. Over a might of mights in yours. I studied her face. She looked pale still, drawn around the eyes. Yours? Bad, but not that bad. She turned her palm over, examining something I couldn't see. The D-rank crystalline expanse was over a goaler of mana in debt. Binding it hit me hard, much harder than binding the realm you gifted did, but nothing like what you did up there. She met my eyes. Braka told me you bound a C-rank folded realm that was actively rupturing, and that rupture was creating all the demons and angels. He saw you fall from the sky, and assumed you died. I thought I might be dying for a moment, I said honestly. She let out a short breath that wasn't quite a laugh. You weren't, fortunately for all of us. We sat quietly for a moment. The sounds of magical healers filled the room, the rhythmic chanting of a bone singer at the far end of the cavern, the soft clink of a clay bowl being set down, and that adorable green fuzzball of a cat sat right on top of me. What about the other front? Any demon issues? I prompted. Toman broke the demon lines on the floor where I met you. I received the report yesterday. Luna rested her halberd across her knees. Below that, there's nothing. Empty floors, all the way down. And above? Every floor the angels abandoned remains quiet. She shook her head slowly, as though the news still hadn't fully settled. Tara volunteered to run the full loop of the legends himself. He ran all 6,001 floors, and saw no threats anywhere. Not one. Tara, I raised an eyebrow. After what he went through? He was insistent. I think he needed to see it himself, and to prove that he could still be useful. Something complicated moved across Luna's face. He came back and told me it was the best run of his life. I thought about the boy and all that he had been through. He'd been impaled on an angel's lance, used as bait, traumatized beyond what any child should endure, and now he could run free through a folded realm that was no longer full of death traps. This world would face challenges in the future, but for now, it was moving in a good direction. Luna, I said carefully, what does your order do now? She looked at me sharply, then looked away. I've been asking myself the same question, she said, after a pause long enough that I wondered if she'd answer it all. We've been soldiers since birth. Every one of us. Our songs are battle hymns, our feasts are victory feasts, and our rituals all centre upon war. She stood, moving to the caravan entrance, her back to me. Hutto has already started talking about what comes next, scouting the upper floors, mapping them in preparation for moving in, growing food, and cleaning up all the burned grass that forces us to farm only in folded realms. That sounds like a good start. It sounds like a completely different life, she turned back. Her expression was unreadable. We'll adapt. We always have. A long pause. We always had a purpose, and now it's gone. I'm not certain everyone will thank us for winning. I thought of Toman's tears when he was promoted, of Florina, who had made peace with the end before she was 20, of the young man with the crimson hair recounting his battle charge to two women who stared at nothing. No, I agreed quietly. I don't suppose they will. I'd been asking Luna about her immediate future to avoid thinking about my own, but decisions had to be made. For all I knew, the S-rank folded realm was still prowling on Phobos' surface, and that removed any option of leaving the Helix while I still had negative mana. I had no illusions I could survive in a place Shimon feared, and I may need to jump straight back into an unknown folded realm to escape the 24 cell. I needed the ability to defend myself before stepping foot back on Phobos. Even at the Helix's 6-to-1 time factor, that meant spending New Year's Day and the day Zhaixin arrived at Deimos still here. I thought China would follow the Space Rescue and Support Treaty at that point, delaying their Deimos landing and remotely observing Phobos instead. We'd trained to do that to help them, had the situation been reversed. But I couldn't help but notice that our rescue simulation drills had all stopped about a week after tensions flared in Eritrea. The best thing the Zhaixin mission could do would be to take the selfish choice of ignoring us. If they landed on Phobos, they'd have no miracles, and probably no Latin to unlock them. They'd have no Archangel transformation, which I guessed was how I got the miracle of flight, at a rank Shimon thought was impossible. If they stayed away, history books would record Zhaixin as the first to return from Mars orbit, and our mission as the first to die here. But if they landed, they'd all die. Politics aside, I like the Chinese astronauts, and I hoped they'd stay away, but they would do what Beijing commanded. The S-rank realm ensured I couldn't radio a warning, even if one would be believed. I wouldn't help them if I died before reaching the aspirant. I made my decision. I'd leave once I had 500,000 mana in the new folded realm, which I calculated would be the morning of the 8th of January in the familiar world. By then, Zhaixin would have made its decision for good or for ill. Earth would believe all three of us dead, and I could defend myself. My being pronounced dead would be tough for my family, but they knew the truth. I hated the choice I was making, but I knew it to be the right one. Only on the 8th would I scour Phobos' surface, looking for another wireframe octahedron portal. My quest would turn that into my ticket home, and my chance to repay the help of Shimon, Luna, Yaakov, and all the other people I'd met in these lost fragments of worlds. That would allow me to truly get home to my family, and to start preparing for whatever was to come. When I left Phobos, I'd bring as many inhabited worlds with me as I could. My decision made, days became weeks. On my best days, I had the strength to beckon for the green cat. But once my mana reached 1, it was like I'd never been sick at all.